Welcome everyone to More Than a Business. My guest today is Vineet Singh. Vineet, welcome to the podcast. And in just a few sentences, tell us a bit about who you are and what you do.
Hey Debbie, thanks for having me here, and it's a pleasure of being on a podcast. It's the first time I'm doing this. My name is Vineet Singh. I reside in Surrey, and I have been to many careers and many different professions throughout my life. And after I got married in 2022, and my wife is an accountant, I realized that many customers that my wife used to deal with, they had an issue how to invest, how they can save properly, manage taxes. So that gave me the idea that this is the gap I should get into and create a profession for myself. And I came through the financial advisor licensing and got started learning about it. And it's been 1 year now. I'm learning the market and empowering people, making them understand and giving them right knowledge and giving them right perspective of investment and financial planning. So I believe this is the way I can help people and also create a business for myself.
Outside of your business, who is Vineet Singh?
So I would say I am pretty sensible, disciplined, and a curious kind of person. I'm always trying to learn new things and trying to understand how things work around, get to know about different topics, different industries. And because I believe if you have more knowledge, it makes you more wiser in making several decisions in your life. And just not your life, you can even in being a like good advisor to other people, not professionally, maybe it's friendly and casual advisory, but it helps you to understand and have a better perspective of life.
And you're obviously married because you mentioned your wife.
Yeah,
Are you a dad also?
I'll be
And what,
soon.
what are your
She is
hobbies?
expecting right now.
Wow!
Yeah, this is the first one.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a new journey for you, definitely.
Completely new.
Was there a defining Vineet, when you started this business, when you knew this is what you wanted to do?
So basically, like everybody knows, not many opportunities in Canada business-wise. Mostly what we have here is service industry. So what I realized, the major service industry is one of the financial industries because it is huge. Mainly it is controlled by the banks and there's huge gap. And then I realized once I started doing it, that you make good number of clients and good number of amount, like good amount of money in it as well. So it's like you are giving knowledge to people, making them wise in making their financial decisions, and simultaneously you're even earning a good amount of money in your life. So I thought that this is the best industry you can work in when you're in Canada. So that was the main moment when I realized that this is the industry I should flourish in, I should be focused in, and with God's sake, reach that level of success.
So, in the same vein, what problem do you want to solve?
What I realized when I started in Canada, I came in 21 as a permanent resident and started doing different jobs. So what I realized, everybody is just living paycheck to paycheck. Nobody's realizing beyond it. So everybody thinks that if you want to earn more dollars, it's like more hours. Rather than just working more, earning more, they should plan wisely. Because if you don't plan wisely, even if you're earning more, you're spending and making other companies rich, maybe banks or other like utility companies. You don't realize that you're not making yourself rich. So that's the way that hit me a lot, that I should guide and educate people how they can make themselves rich and secured in the longer run and make their retirement, their children, their generation safe in investments and like assets wise, everything. So there's the gap which I realize I should guide and educate people on.
I've always told my kids it doesn't matter how much money you make, you will end up spending it. The more you make, the more you will spend, but you will never get rich or wealthy or whatever the word you want, find financial freedom through your paycheck.
Right.
It has to come through investing. It's
Right.
being able to invest wisely. So what would you say your biggest challenge has been in this journey for yourself?
Basically, the trust issue. Why? Because Canadians have a mindset, even like the immigrants and the born Canadians, that the banks are the safest place to invest. Rather than realizing it, that even banks are not just using that money on their own. They are investing a part of that money in the financial markets, money markets, stock market, and all that stuff. So they're not realizing that banks are the ones who are making major amount of benefit from the amount that you are investing. So why banks are making the main major benefit? Why not you are getting the real benefit because you are the real investors. People are just putting their money
Mhm.
in their checking and saving account and just waiting for their whole life to get like sort of GICs. That's it. Because they feel that that's the safest and they're secured. It's not about safety. It's about understanding the market. Because once you have right knowledge, you will realize that safety is always there if you are knowledgeable. If you're not knowledgeable, you are just wasting on the right opportunity. So that's the way I feel that that's the challenge I need to cater on. But once I cater it on, people get trust. And once you gain trust, you will gain the client forever.
Definitely. And people think that, "Oh, I'm saving." But what they don't realize that
Yeah.
they're not saving. They're putting that money in the bank
No,
and their money is earning less
because
than
yeah,
inflation.
inflation is more, yeah, right. Nobody realizes it.
So
Like
they're
people are
losing the longer
so
it stays in that bank account.
right. Still, people are so engrossed in their jobs and everything that they don't realize what's happening with their money in the banks. Banks are
Mhm.
earning it from the mortgage. They offer mortgage. They offer loans. They earn a lot of interest on it. And what they are paying to you is not even 1%. So that's the
Yep.
point. Like why money is sitting. Money should not sit. Money should be earning for you.
I chuckle whenever I see offering this big interest rate of 2.
I come from India, right? So in India, if you consider the secured and the most safest investment, it's called FD, fixed deposits. Like we have GICs here.
Mhm.
In India, we have fixed deposits. The average rate of return on that one is 7% annually. So that is also, I would say, a good return if you want to play safe. But 1%,
Yes.
2%, I don't get that.
Oh, it's
I don't
crazy.
at all.
And just like you said, what the majority of people don't realize is they put their money into the bank and then the bank takes that money and lends it back to you at a
Yeah,
higher rate, as you said, in mortgages, in loans. And that's just crazy.
yeah,
They're taking your money and then they're lending it out. It's like
right.
I leave my Ferrari at your house to say I'm gone on vacation and I leave my
Yeah,
Ferrari at your house and not that I have a Ferrari, but then you rent out my Ferrari while I'm on vacation
right. And you're paying the
and
insurance
you
for
make
it.
money on it. Exactly. So what are people typically struggling with when they find you? What would you
So the
say their
major
greatest pain when they realize?
major thing is that they don't have any plans for their generation, for their retirement. That's a major concern. What they are doing, they're just paying off their mortgages, their utility bills, that's it. They don't realize that saving should be your first step, then spending.
Mhm.
What people are doing, spending first and saving last. And what happens in turn, they don't have any money to save because they're
No,
spending
there's
everything,
no money left.
right? But if you have a mindset that save first because you're saving for yourself. You are earning, you are bringing the paycheck to your home. So why not you should save for yourself, pay yourself first, rather than paying to the utilities and mortgages and banks and all, because they won't pay for your retirement. They won't be there for your retirement. So that's the biggest pain
Mhm.
people have. And that's the mindset I help them to understand and change. That start saving first, then plan your expenses.
Think about a client that you've had and what type of transformation or result were you able to help them achieve?
So recently, I did planning for one of my family friends, and they're earning good. And his wife is self-employed. He is working with a car dealership, and they have two daughters. So what I made them understand is that the extra funds you have every month, why not plan in a way that you have something for you, for your retirement, for your kids, and when you will transfer your assets to your kid, estate planning will be covered as well. So I changed their mindset that try to understand the point that what amount of assets you have right now will be transferred to your kids and they have tax implications on it. They didn't know about it. So that's the way you educate them actually. The people don't realize that we are just building assets. We don't realize once we transfer these assets to our kids, how will they turn out to be? Because you have tax implications right away. People don't know about it.
So once you explained this to them and helped them figure out what they were going to do with their money, how did they feel? What did they express to you?
Yeah, they were like super excited. The problem is that people are just focused on creating assets. people are not understanding the main game behind it, like how tax works, how CRA will poke
Mhm.
you or your kids in the future. So one day, once they understood that how things work and how they can manage wisely and transfer their wealth properly to their next generation, they were super excited. So that's the point. Like people understand, oh, that's the way it's happening. That's the way people get broke in the end. That's the way kids have to sell
Mhm.
properties after their parents. That's the reason
Mm.
people don't realize it.
A lot of people are under the misunderstanding. They say, well, Canada doesn't have inheritance tax. There's no
It
inheritance tax,
has,
but
yeah.
it
So
isn't named
yeah,
inheritance tax, but there's probate tax and there's all these other
right.
things that we
And the
have.
point is like the myth is that people think, oh, we'll create a trust, and in trust
A
everything
trust
will be
account, yeah.
secured and the
Done.
kids will have it secured. No, even in a trust, as per CRA rules, after 21 years, whatever the property trust owns will be taxed. Irrespective, you have transferred, you have sold, doesn't mean they consider it to be sold after 21 years. So you're not safe there. And in a trust, you can sell a property easily. It's not that easy. The kids will have
Mhm.
the implications in the long run. And unfortunately, what I have realized, the kids, the next generation like we are having in the future, even I'll be having a kid soon, they are not that smart regarding the finances. They are not that smart. Unfortunately, we need to teach them to understand so that they can plan in the long because they live currently. They don't plan in the future. They don't plan in the long run. What
Yes.
our generation used to do?
And not just this generation, I think we all do. Nothing really clicked with me until I hit 50 and thought, oh my gosh, I'm really close to retirement. What am I going to do? Before that, it's like, it's raising kids, it's all
Yeah,
these other things. It's like, oh, I'm
right,
not old yet. There's still lots of time.
right.
And then when you hit 50, it's like, oh my gosh, I've only got 15 years now to catch up.
True.
People tend to live for today and not think about that until
Yeah,
it gets too close, and
yeah,
then your runway is very short in doing
that's
so.
one.
So, what services and or products do you offer, Vineet?
So I offer universal insurance products, which is a combination of life insurance, that's a permanent insurance, as well as investments. Then we offer term insurances for many other small scale industry and business owners and self-employed people who doesn't want to invest or have that capacity to pay that kind of premiums for universal products. They go for term insurances like truck drivers and construction workers. Because what people don't realize that although they are covered in group insurances from the companies and like disability insurance, critical illnesses and all that stuff. But that not for lifetime. And that not is a good amount of an amount in it. But whereas if you pay for term insurances like $50 a month averagely, and you'll be covered for 100, $400 and $500,000 easily. What happens? You are basically saving your family, future for your family. They might have mortgages, they have other stuff to tackle if you something happens to you. So we have huge products, and then we have insurances where you can save for yourself and skipping the mortgage insurance. People don't realize that in their mortgages, a mortgage insurance is added and they're just paying it. And bank will be the beneficiary if anything happens to you. Whereas if you go with insurances that are offered by the insurance companies with the segregated funds, you can have a mortgage insurance lesser than what banks are offering to you, and the beneficiary will be your family, not the banks,
I
your
made
family.
that mistake. For
Yeah,
20 years, I was paying $65 a month
yeah,
in mortgage insurance until I got savvy enough to speak to
right,
a financial advisor. There's so many loopholes in this mortgage insurance that you may not even get it. They'll find some
right.
reason not to pay it out. Also, I'm paying this fixed premium every month, but yet I owe less each time on the mortgage.
That's the point, like where you can educate your clients, like I do, that your mortgage is decreasing every year. So why your insurance premium is same? Because you owe less every year to the bank, and people
Yes.
don't realize that. Like
And when you
just
can
pay.
take that fixed premium and get
Yeah,
a fixed amount of
like
payout. How has your business evolved since you started?
I would say that in the initial stage, like I was through a learning curve and I was learning through all that industry, financial products, how it works, how I should be educating people. So Initially, it was a learning phase for myself and little hard to make people understand and react on the things. But once I got depth knowledge into it and starting understanding the people's mindset, what they're actually looking for and what they need to know to plan wisely step by step throughout their career and for their retirement as well. So once I started creating a step by step criteria of investment for my clients, that changed a lot of my client perspective towards me and understanding, and that even increased my client base. So that was a turning point, and that's the way I was able to evolve my business better.
Excellent. So I know as a financial advisor that you don't only have to serve in your local area. You can do it regionally. But what
Yes.
is it that excites you the most about helping people in your local community, like Surrey?
So basically, what excites me is that coming from a middle class family, I know the pain of earning hard income and not saving enough for you or your family. So once I get to help my community and people around me, and when they thank me to make them understand and create a great portfolio for them, which will help their generations, their retirement, themselves, and give them a peace of mind. So that gives me a sigh of relief that you are doing kind of a social work, because people spend their whole life just earning and in the end they have nothing for yourself. So that's the way when I help them, I feel that this is actual social service. Yeah.
So if you could go back and tell yourself one thing at the beginning, what would it be?
I would say, like, when I came into one, I had no knowledge, one to help me, to guide me, to advise me. So I would say that I should have, or anyone should be looking for business opportunities or service industries opportunities, specifically financial industries. And financial industry can be like any mortgage broker, financial advisor, because these are the industries I think people should get in. And I would say to myself as well, that would have been the best step if I have started at that time. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
the way you learn.
Your biggest pain is your wealth, your health, and relationships. Wealth is definitely in one of those biggest pain areas. So working
I
in that
completely
industry, helping others in that industry is definitely one of those biggest pains to solve and a
true.
necessary. What does living your passion mean to you?
I would say passion becomes once you get starting loving your business, what you're doing actually. I have been to different industries. Once I got into this financial industries, my passion became to educate people and earning out of it. So it helped me a lot. It changed my life completely because it gives me an excitement and energy every day that how I can be more valuable to my clients.
Where can people find you and connect with you, Vineet?
They can find me in Surrey, Fleetwood, Unit 101, 15955 Fraser Highway, Surrey.
And what about online? How can they find you?
I have my Instagram account, First and Investment Accounting and Services, and even my TikTok. My number is 77832588979. I can be your like wealth advisor and your future safety advisor as well.
Thank you for
My
sharing your
pleasure.
knowledge.
My
And
pleasure.
thank you for being very open and honest with your journey. We really appreciate it. And until next time, Debbie out. Bye, Vineet. Thank you.